Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to OpenMoreToys. Today on OpenMoreToys, I'm going to show you how to make a giant Play-Doh surprise egg. A lot of you have been asking me, how do I make my Play-Doh creations on top of my giant Play-Doh surprise eggs, or on the eggs? So I wanted to show you a very easy one, and today we're going to do the Minecraft Creeper. And be sure to go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and that way when I post up the opening of this egg on my next video, you'll be the first one to watch it. So the first thing you're going to need to get is a rolling pin. This is a rolling pin that you use for cooking and baking and things like that. And then we're also going to need a plastic knife, something that you just get with plastic spoons and forks. It comes with a knife. So it's not very sharp. It doesn't need to be because it's just Play-Doh. And then we're just going to use two colors today. The first color being black. This is 6 tubs of black Play-Doh. And what I'm going to do is just mash them together and knead them, try to get out as many air bubbles and as many of the creases as I can. So I'm making this how-to video because it's near Easter, so this is a pretty easy time to find the giant plastic eggshells. So you should be able to find those so you can make your own surprise eggs. So I cut the black Play-Doh into 2. I'm going to use half of it right now. So we're just going to knead that, roll it until it's nice and smooth, and then we're going to flatten it down with our hand a little bit, so that way we can get it started, and then we're going to use the rolling pin to flatten it out. And now we're going to want to make sure to go back and forth, not just in a straight line, but we want to go at different angles, and we're going to constantly want to spin the Play-Doh, and that way it's nice and even. We're going to get not a spot that's too thick and a spot that's really, really too thin, because you don't want it paper thin. You just want it slightly thin. So just keep on continuing to this, this step, just, going back and forth on the Play-Doh, spinning the Play-Doh a little bit, back and forth, spinning it until you have a thickness that you can, pick this up without it ripping. So our black Play-Doh is all flattened out. We're going to pick this up and we're going to set this off to the side a little bit because now we're going to get our giant egg. Now this giant egg is the one we're going to open up in our next video. So you just got a little sneak peek of what's inside there. Oh, there it is again. So if you didn't catch it, we're just going to get a little sneak peek there. Now, you want the Play-Doh flat on there, and there's going to be a lot of creases. There's going to be a lot of wrinkles because the eggs are round, and you can get this thing on there. Well, you're going to want to keep pulling at it on the sides. Not too much. You just want to do it evenly. You'll pull a little bit here, pull a little bit there, going around in a circle around the egg. You don't want to cover the whole egg. What we're trying to do here is cover half the egg. So we're going to keep pulling, get out the major wrinkles, those major folds. You don't want those, or at least on half of the egg. You want it nice and smooth and flat on half of the egg. Now I'm just pressing all the sides together, get it nice and smooth. So you can see that the front half here is completely covered. So what we're going to do next is, after we have it all smoothed out there, is we're going to grab our plastic knife. Now grabbing our plastic knife, what we want to do is cut off some excess Play-Doh. We only want half of the egg covered, so we're going to add a little slice across here and going around the entire egg, and what we're trying to do is get rid of those major folds or creases that don't look too pretty, and we want a nice clean straight line going across the egg, because when we cover the other side we want 2 clean lines joined together. So the bottom, you can have as much excess Play-Doh as you want. You want a lot of Play-Doh on the bottom. So now we have our clean slice all the way around. We have half the egg covered. We're going to put the egg to the side, and what we're going to do is grab our scraps of black Play-Doh and our other half of black Play-Doh that we didn't use, and just combine it all together and knead it all together again. Because now we're going to do the same step that we just did. We're going to flatten this out again. We're going to roll it and knead it, get it nice and smooth, and then we're going to do the same thing we did with the last section of Play-Doh, where we're going to roll it out nice and thin. So now that we have our Play-Doh back to the same as we did the first time, where it's nice and smooth and flat, we're going to set that off to the side, grab our egg again, and we need to cover the other side. Oop, there's a little sneak peek again of what's inside our next video. So we're going to grab this and we're going to slap it on the side of the egg again. So you're just want to make sure that you completely cover what is not already covered. And now this is going to overlap, which is, don't worry, just don't press on it to overlap it. What you want to do is just make it nice and smooth again, you know, like just being gentle with it. And what we're going to do is trim off the excess. So my trick here is, okay, so you grab it and fold it, and you see where the Play-Doh met before, where it meets the other Play-Doh, where you're going to add a dimple into this layer of Play-Doh with your fingers. So you're going to do that all the way across the entire egg. Right where this Play-Doh meets the other Play-Doh, we're going to add a little dimple with our fingers. And this is going to be our guide for what we're going to cut off. Alright, so now using our plastic knife again, we're going to cut across the dimples we made with our fingers. Nice, clean, straight line going all around the egg. And then we just take away this excess Play-Doh here that we have too much of now. And uh-oh, we have a spot that's not covered. Don't worry, that's going to happen as long as the gap's not too big. What we're doing is just pushing the Play-Doh together. We're going to merge the two halves of the black Play-Doh together by just pushing on it. That's all it really takes. So it doesn't matter if there's a small spot, and if there's a bigger spot that you don't think that you can push together, you just grab a little bit of your Play-Doh and just fill it in. So here is how you do the two halves of the colors of the Play-Doh together. You just go with your thumb back and forth, pressing it slowly together, up and down, up and down. It doesn't have to be too precise. It's just, you know, you want to get it together. And then as soon as it is together, then that's when you're going to make the smaller, more precise pushes of, you know, pushing the Play-Doh together all the way down the egg until it's completely merged together, until it looks like it's almost one piece. And then, you know, you're gonna have a bunch of finger marks in there. So what you're gonna do is use your finger again and then roll your fingers across that seam to get rid of it. And then what we're gonna do is just do the same thing on the other side. So here's our egg. It's all covered with Play-Doh. A little lumpy, a little bumpy. We can make it smoother, but it's gonna look perfectly fine because we're gonna cover it with another design here. So go ahead and put away your Play-Doh that we used, your black Play-Doh. Go ahead and put that away in the tubs. We're not going to need this, and you don't want it to dry out. So it's always important to put away your Play-Doh. I have forgotten to put away Play-Doh, and I have left it out accidentally. It will dry up hard as a rock. Then make sure your workspace is nice and clean. Get off any scraps of the black Play-Doh. Make sure it's completely clean, because you don't want to mix the colors with another color that we're going to use. Like, we're going to use this bright green, and if there's any specks of black left on the table, it would pick it up. So we're going to use 2 tubs of this light green Play-Doh. Now, I think this is perfect for a creeper, this light green. Now, you can use dark green if you have it. If you don't have light green, it's going to look perfectly fine. Just for my egg, I want the light green. So we're going to do the same thing we did with the black Play-Doh, but with less of it. With 2 cans, we're just going to smooth it, roll it out, knead it out, get it nice and smooth and flat. Now it doesn't need, this could be even thinner than what you did covering the egg, because this is going to be the design part. It doesn't need to be too thick. The egg covering you want thick because there's a lot of pressing together, and you don't want bald spots. You don't want it to be too thin in spots and then it peeling away. So this can be sort of thin, not paper thin, just slightly thin. Alright, after we have our green Play-Doh all laid out nice and flattened, we're going to grab our plastic knife again. And this is what we're going to draw our design with. So the creeper head is square. So I'm going to start with making the biggest square I can out of this. And that way I can always trim it smaller, but at least I have a guide of how big I could go. So we have our square. Peel back the rest of the Play-Doh that we don't need. You can set that off to the side and we're going to put it away back in the tubs. Now, this still looks a little too big for me, so I'm going to trim off a little bit more because this is way too big for the egg. This exactly the size that I want. So now we can go ahead and start with our design. I'm not going to make a slice there, I'm just adding a little guide for myself. Now we're going to start with the eyes of the creeper. We're going to make these nice squares here, and then we're going to go cut all the way across after we have that eye. We know that we need to go all the way, and then we make the other square and join it together. And then what we're going to have to do is sort of make that mouth part on the creeper. So we just cut out the design of how the mouth looks. There we have it. It's our creeper, and then we just peel back the Play-Doh that we want to cut out, where the eyes are and where the mouth is. Now, I think his head is still a little too long, and I'm going to want to trim some of that away too. So we just cut right from the bottom. That's where, you know, it's a little plain there. So there we go. Now we have a nice square creeper head. So we grab our giant Play-Doh surprise egg that we completely covered in one color, which was the black Play-Doh, and then we grab our creeper head design and we gently place that on there. We want to make it nice and even, getting all your, you know, make sure it's nice and straight, doesn't look too curvy, otherwise it's going to look really, really weird. So you can always move it if you just put it on there nice and gently. If you press on it too hard, it's going to be a lot harder, and then you're not going to have your sharp, clean, square edges. You're going to start having rounded edges. So just gently, gently push on it. So this was a really easy egg to do. This is probably the quickest egg I've ever done because we only used 2 colors. But I wanted to show you how to make an egg. Difficulty can always go up. You can always do more designs and more colors and everything like that, but this would be a simple one, so you can start off with the basics of how to make a giant Play-Doh surprise egg. So make sure, if you like this video, then hit that thumbs up button down below, and also subscribe to my channel, because we're going to go ahead and open up this giant Minecraft egg in our very next video. And it's going to be full of cool toys and surprises, as well as Minecraft toys, and we have some other Minecraft toys that we're going to open up that are not inside this egg. And if you haven't already, go ahead and click right here on the screen to go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and that way you'll be one of the first people to watch my next video. And make sure to check out all my other videos. We have some really cool videos. Thanks for watching OpenMoreToys. See you next time.